Yo, tapping in real quick for this UFC 306 highly anticipated bantamweight matchup with a bantamweight strap is very much up for grabs between Sugar Sean O'Malley and Merab the Machine Dvalishvili, taking place in the Sphere. Noche UFC 2024 is finally fucking here. You know what I'm talking about? And in this video right here, we just gonna chop it up for a few minutes about final thoughts on this entire card. And we do have a new addition in Joshua Van, who's stepping up on short notice to fill in for Kevin against Edgar, and we'll talk about that one momentarily. Let's dive into it. I'll do my best not to hold y'all ears hostage for too long. Not necessarily sure if this is the lineup we'll have come fight night, but it's the lineup I have right now, so it's the one we're gonna rock with. Rosas versus Arichi Lang. And Rosas is still very much the pick to be the one to get this one done in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Whether that's getting old boy down to the ground relatively easily, in my personal opinion, aggressively searching for the submission, finding it, sinking it in, locking it up, and getting old boy out of there inside the distance via submission, or whether it's clipping him, catching him, and disconnecting him from his consciousness to get him out of there inside the distance via KO, TKO, because Arichi Lang might find himself a bit timid on the feet, worried about the incoming takedowns and the pressure, and fuck around and eat a flying knee or some other striking sequence that he didn't necessarily see coming or count on. You understand what I'm saying to you? I could also see Rosas just putting on a master class of implementing his game on a lesser individual as far as opposition is concerned over the course of 15 minutes to, just give us a unanimous decision, 30-27, clean sweep across the boards type situation. You know what I'm talking about? This is Rosas all day, every day, even on Sunday, and I don't see a night anywhere that he fumbles the bag in this one. You know what I'm talking about? So I don't necessarily know how he's going to secure the victory, but I do know he will secure the victory. And everything doesn't have to be a finish, man. Sometimes we're blessed with these matchups where we can go out here and do just about anything we would like to do. And that gives us the opportunity to show you a little bit more of what we're capable of doing. You know what I'm talking about? And that we're capable of going the distance and producing a better body of work absolutely everywhere over the course of 15 minutes for a unanimous decision. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Rosas is still very much the pick. Edgar versus Joshua. Kevin's out. Edgar was the pick to get the job done against Kevin in some way, shape, form, or fashion, whether that was finding the finish inside the distance via, catching and clipping and disconnecting him from his consciousness, or finding, sinking in, and locking up a submission, or just producing a better body of work over the course of 15 minutes to get the unanimous decision. Edgar was the pick against Kevin. Against Joshua, Edgar's still the pick as a dog, so I like the price tag a lot fucking better. You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is, man. You know what I mean? It's gonna be competitive until it's not, in my personal opinion, because I honestly got Edgar getting him out of here inside the distance via submission. Joshua's lost via KO, TKO to Charles. And Charles had a significant reach advantage on him. Edgar possesses a 6.5-inch reach advantage on him. I don't give Joshua the edge in speed or power. You understand what I'm saying to you? I probably give the power. I'll put them neck and neck as far as speed goes, and I'll give the slight edge in power to Edgar. I do believe Edgar to be the more dangerous individual out of these two, absolutely everywhere. I said it, Joshua was knocked out. He lost via KO, TKO to Charles. He's also lost via submission in his career. His two losses come via losing inside the distance, one via KO, TKO, one via submission, and either one of those I could see happening again in this matchup against Edgar, man. I personally believe Joshua's gonna get himself snatched up shooting for a takedown. I think Edgar's gonna snatch up a neck, a front choke, a guillotine. He's going to snatch up something in some way, shape, form, or fashion and attempt to take that shit back home with him. You know what I'm talking about? If it's a limb, unfortunately for Joshua, that shit might get broke. You know what I'm talking about? If it's his neck, he's getting choked, and he'll fuck around and go to sleep before he can tap out if he tries to play that tough role. You know what I'm talking about? I like Joshua, man. He's solid. He's well-rounded. You know what I'm talking about? He can produce a decent body of work over the course of 15 minutes or for as long as the fight goes. You know what I'm saying? I just do believe that Edgar is dangerous. He's by far the more dangerous individual out of these two, in my personal opinion, and absolutely everywhere. He can get this one done inside the distance via KO, TKO by clipping and disconnecting Joshua Van from his consciousness. He does possess the pop in his shots and the power to do so. He could get Joshua Van out of there inside the distance via submission if Joshua Van, you know, gets to shooting for those takedowns like he likes to do sometimes. You understand what I'm saying to you? I believe Edgar will snatch that motherfucking neck up in a front choke or a guillotine choke, pull guard, and get him the fuck up out of there inside the distance via submission, as I do believe he's a bit more dangerous absolutely everywhere that this fight can take place, man. Yeah, I'm talking about, I believe he's a better, you know, just everywhere. He's a better all-around mixed martial artist, and to put the icing on top of it, he's more fucking dangerous. You know what I'm talking about? I do not see Joshua Van winning this one inside the distance via KO, TKO, or submission in any way, shape, form, or fashion on any fucking night. You could schedule this fight 10 fucking times, and I don't see him winning it inside the distance in any way, shape, form, or fashion any fucking time. You know what I'm talking about? Schedule it 10 times, and I see Edgar Torres winning this one 5 times by decision and fucking 3 times by submission and 2 times by knockout. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I don't see a night where Edgar Torres loses this fight to Joshua Van. We are in the doghouse, and this is going to be the first dog that I expect to bark and pop the fuck off, and I am rocking with him, man. I was rocking with him when he was fighting Kevin, and he was like around -150. Now he's fighting Joshua, and he's around +150, and I love it. You know what I'm talking about? So Edgar's the pick. You know what I mean? Yasmeen versus Katlin. This is women's MMA. You know what I'm talking about? I highly advise you just stay the fuck away and let this one play itself out. Now, if you're, you know, trying to put like a little Mexican haymaker together or something like that, you know what I'm talking about, then I get it. You know what I'm talking about? I can definitely dig it. If you want to take like Daniel Zellhuber, you know what I'm talking about, and motherfucking Manuel Torres and Edgar Torres and Rosas, you know what I mean, and Yasmeen or something like that, and wrap them together, you can do that. Listen, I did a 4-leg parlay like a week or so ago. I posted it when Manuel Torres was still an underdog, like I think around +104 on the money line. It's the whole reason I posted that early bird parlay, is because I didn't believe Manuel Torres would be a plus money number, you know, come fight week, which he's not. He's a slight favorite right now, you know what I mean? And that was a little Mexican parlay that I just threw together, you know what I'm talking about? It was Daniel Zellhuber, Edgar Torres, Manuel Torres, and Ronaldo Rodriguez, you know what I mean? I just went ahead and tossed that little Mexico parlay while Torres was at plus money number and tossed it in. And one of those picks actually goes against my pick, you know what I mean? But like I said, if you want to fuck with the Yasmeen fight, only fuck with it from that aspect. Like if you're tossing a little haymaker together, you know what I mean, from Mexico, you know what I'm talking about, or if you're doing something for the prelims. Other than that, man, just leave this fight alone. She should win, but in my personal opinion, it's going to be by split decision, man. I don't believe she's going to get Katlin out of there inside the distance via KO, TKO, or via submission, but I do believe she will slightly produce the better body of work over the course of 15 minutes to edge out a split decision. So I'm calling a split on that one, but Yasmeen is the pick. Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Baja Mundos, and Manuel Torres is still very much the pick to get this one done in some way, shape, form, or fashion, whether it's finding the finish inside the distance via catching, clipping, and disconnecting Ignacio Baja Mundos from his consciousness, or whether it's finding the, you know, submission inside the distance from Ignacio attempting to, you know, take down. And Manuel Torres, he uses his long limbs very much to his advantage. You know what I'm talking about? Much like a Julian Rosa or a Joe Alvarez. He will, you know what I mean, lock up that motherfucking front choke, lock up that motherfucking guillotine. When he wraps that motherfucking, you know, when he wraps his guard around you and gets you locked the fuck in, that shit's hella tight, man. You know what I'm talking about? So, you know, I could see Manuel getting this one done via KO, TKO. I could see Manuel getting this one done via submission. I could see Manuel getting this one done via unanimous decision by producing a better body of work over the course of 15 minutes and just hurting Ignacio multiple times over the course of 15 minutes. If he's unable to find a finish, I do believe that he will find that chin and hurt this man, hurt this young man quite a bit in their matchup. You know what I'm talking about? So it's Manuel Torres to get it done in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Whether that's, you know, catching, clipping, and disconnecting him from his consciousness, finding his submission, sinking it in, locking it up, and getting him out of there inside the distance via submission, or producing a slightly better body of work over the course of 15 minutes while also hurting Ignacio a couple times to secure the unanimous decision, man. So Manuel's the pick. Irene versus Norma, you know, this is it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. I'm siding with Norma. I'm not changing my pick. It is what it is. You know what I'm talking about? For the most part, when Norma has to fight these longer individuals, these longer, younger women, you know, Megan Anderson, I believe, beat her. You know what I'm talking about? Macy Chason, I believe, beat her. You know what I'm talking about? She just caught the dub over Jermaine Durandamy, who was an individual who was longer limbed than her, you know what I mean, and had the height and reach advantage on her. She did well against Jermaine Durandamy to go ahead and secure that victory. It's going to be competitive, man. It's going to be very, very competitive. Absolutely everywhere. And I am just siding with Norma to slightly edge her out, and I'm calling this one a split too. I'm calling another split decision, but I'm gonna go ahead and side with Norma to be the one to get it done. And I believe Norma's a slight underdog on the line right now. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm all right with that, man. Because while Irene can be fucking dangerous, let's not get that fucked up. She can be dangerous. And she has been up against the higher level of opposition for longer. You know what I'm talking about? But it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? Not anything that's going to be locked up in any of my parlays in any way, shape, form, or fashion, unless maybe we're talking about a haymaker on the prelims. You know what I'm talking about? But it is what it is, man. Norma's the pick. I ain't going back on it. You know what I mean? Highly competitive. I'm calling another split. But Norma's the pick, man. So for the prelims, as of right now, all we have is 5 fights. And I am rocking with Rosas to be the one to get it done in some way, shape, form, or fashion over Richie Lang. He is a sizable favorite, though. Edgar against Joshua. Edgar is a slight dog, and I am siding with Edgar to be the one to get this one done in some way, shape, form, or fashion over Joshua. Yasmeen, sizable favorite, but I am siding with her to be the one to get it done over Katlin, but only via split decision. Manuel over Ignacio. I'm siding with Manuel to be the one to get this one done in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And Irene versus Norma, as of right now, is anyway, you know, at least by what I'm going off of, is what will be closing the prelims out. And I will be siding with Norma to produce the slightly better body of work over the course of 15 minutes to edge out a, you know, split decision. On to the main card. Ronaldo versus Ode Osborne, and Ode Osborne is my pick. Ode Osborne is a underdog in this matchup. We are in the doghouse, though, and this is what, the 6th fight, and 1, 2, it's going to be our 3rd dog, as Edgar's a dog, Norma's a slight dog, and Ode is a dog. Ronaldo, 16-2. Up against opposition with combined records of 92 wins and 44 losses, where Ode's 12-7 is up against opposition with combined records of 156 wins and 77 losses. They have a similar opponent in common with Jerome Rivera, who Ronaldo, unfortunately and disgustingly, lost to Jerome via unanimous decision. Where on the other side of things, O'Day didn't. I believe he got him out of there inside the distance. You know what I'm talking about? Ronaldo's best win is his win over Denise Bondor, or however you say Bondor's name. But a win over Bondor is nothing to brag about, in my personal opinion. You know what I'm talking about, man? It's not a high level of opposition. He's not even a decent level of opposition, in my personal opinion. But it is what it is. That's his best win. And their opposition that they have in common was Jerome, and he lost to him. Now, O'Day, he beat Jerome. He also beat CJ Vergara in the UFC, and you gotta like his win over Charles Johnson inside the UFC. His losses to Hafel, Azu, Manel, and even Brian Kelleher, you can't frown on him about. We could do without that loss to Tyson Nam, but listen, man, the level of opposition that O'Day has faced has been a higher level of opposition. The body of work that O'Day has been able to produce, in my personal opinion, has been a better all-around body of work than that of what Ronaldo has been able to produce. And with that being said, O'Day has been able to produce that better body of work up against a higher level of opposition. He does possess an 8-inch reach advantage in this matchup on the feet. And I do believe him to be just a better mixed martial artist absolutely everywhere, man. You know what I'm talking about? So I honestly don't see a night where Ronaldo wins this fight. It is Noche UFC 2024. You know, he is very much one of the Mexican fighters on the card. So, you know, maybe that's why we're giving him the, or they decided to give him the favorite side and put O'Day on the dog side, because nothing about his resume, his level of opposition, or his body of work, in my personal opinion, justifies him being a favorite in this matchup over O'Day Osborne. But it is what it is, man. I'm going to rock with O'Day to be the one to get this one done in some way, shape, form, or fashion, man. Whether that's finding the finish inside the distance to get Ronaldo out of there, or producing a better body of work over the course of 15 minutes for a unanimous majority or a split decision. But either way you look at it, O'Day's the pick, man. Know what I'm talking about? At least for me. Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovics. I'm all over Daniel Zellhuber here, man, to be the one to produce the better body of work absolutely everywhere over the course of 15 minutes for a unanimous decision. And maybe in the late minutes of, you know, the third round, when Esteban has already found himself down 2 rounds to none, maybe Daniel can then find the finish inside the distance via Esteban approach being just a little bit too aggressive and too reckless in the late minutes, trying to find a finish in his own right because he knows that's what he needs to win the fight. That is when Daniel Zellhuber might find the finish inside the distance in this fight. You feel me? Other than that, I just see him producing a better body of work over the course of 15 minutes absolutely everywhere to secure a unanimous decision. If he finds the finish inside the distance, in my personal opinion, it'll be in the late minutes when Ribovics is a bit too aggressive and a bit too recklessly pursuing the finish in his own right. You know what I'm talking about? He'll leave himself open. He'll get caught. He'll get clipped. He'll get disconnected from his consciousness, or he'll get caught, he'll get clipped in Zellhuber, or hop on him for a club and sub type situation to get him out of there inside the distance like that. But either way you look at it, man, it's Daniel Zellhuber to me. Brian Ortega versus Diego, man. And I'm rocking with Diego to be the one to get this one done in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Unfortunately for Brian, most likely inside the distance via KO, TKO, from catching, clipping, and disconnecting him from his consciousness, or what'll shock Brian and everybody else the most, via submission inside the distance from clipping him and hopping on him for a club and sub type situation, or just if they find themselves entangled aggressively searching for the submission, finding it, sinking it in, and locking it in, finding it, sinking it in, locking it up, and getting the old boy out of there inside the distance via submission in his own right, because Diego is nobody to be fucking playing with on the ground. You know what I'm talking about? Neither one of these individuals are anybody to be fucking around with on the ground. But if Brian finds himself a bit too confident in his abilities there, he could find himself, you know, getting submitted inside the distance, searching for the submission in his own right. You feel me? I like Brian. Brian's very solid. Brian's very well-rounded. You know what I mean? I am not shitting on the young man in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I just personally don't believe he's ever been the same since the beating he took from Max. You know what I'm talking about? You know, the L to Volk, after putting Volk in that compromisable position and squeezing with absolutely everything he had, I mean a submission that is his number one go-to that absolutely nobody has ever gotten the fuck out of ever before, and he had it in deeper than he's ever had it in before, and old boy got up out of it, man. I mean, just little by little, things have been breaking Brian down, in my personal opinion, mentally, spiritually, physically, if we're talking about damage, man. Because listen, granted, the damage was inflicted by Max, but the facts still remain that the damage was inflicted. That young man is not the same, and how much more can he actually take? You understand what I'm saying to you? Diego is fucking dangerous, man. He's quick. He has pop in his shots. You understand what I'm saying to you? Versatile, diverse, in every fucking department. You know what I'm talking about? He's dangerous. Brian is dangerous too. I just believe right now in 2024, Diego to be the more dangerous of these two. You know what I mean? And unfortunately for Brian, man, I just feel like we've seen his best days. We've seen the best of him. He has peaked and he has reached his ceiling inside the UFC. You know what I'm talking about? We know what that ceiling is, you know what I mean? But due to the fact that he reached that ceiling and caught those beatings and took chips away at his motherfucking spirit, you know what I'm talking about, and his mental, he's just not the same, man. He's not the same Brian. He doesn't produce the same body of work. You feel what I'm saying to you? You can look in his motherfucking eyes and see it, man. He's just not the same individual, in my personal opinion, man. You know what I mean? And, I could see Diego catching him, cracking him, and what I don't want to see is Diego catching him and cracking him and putting him in compromisable positions, and you know Brian survives, and next thing you know Brian's bumblebeed the fuck up. You know what I'm talking about? His snap box is leaking, his soup cooler's busted the fuck open, eyeballs bumblebeed up, his ear busted. You know what I'm talking about? And we're just talking about how fucking tough Brian or T-City Ortega is and how durable Brian T-City Ortega is. Like, I don't want to have another night like that, man. You know what I'm talking about? I don't think Brian physically or mentally or spiritually can afford to have another night like that. You know what I'm talking about? It's a fucked up fight, man. I like both of these motherfuckers. I just honestly feel like I felt about Jared Cannonier and Caio Bahaio, and like I felt about Sean Brady and Gilbert Burns, and like I felt about quite a few other individuals, you know what I'm saying, previously in their matchups, man. Their best days are behind them. Maybe not as a human being. They may very well be living the best days of their lives as far as human being, you know what I'm saying, living is concerned. But combat sports performance, best days are gone, man. The best days are behind him, in my personal opinion, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'd honestly like to see that motherfucker just, you know, if he was to secure this motherfucking victory, take your gloves off, man, and hit the sidelines and start coaching these motherfuckers, man. You know what I mean? I don't want to see Brian take any more damage, man. I don't want to see Brian get fucked up, man. I don't want to be talking about how tough and durable Brian is again at the end of another motherfucking night. You know what I'm talking about? And I just don't know that he gets Diego out of there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that he gets the. It's a lot to be said about mental and spiritual and physical. And even if your physical's there, but your mental and your spiritual aren't. You understand what I'm saying to you? I just feel like his mental, as well as his spiritual, as well as his physical, have been chipped away at. You know what I'm talking about? And Diego might fuck around, be the final hammer to take a whack at him. You know what I mean? He might hurt this young man and might really make, if he gets him out of there inside a distance violently or brutally, Brian might really start reevaluating his decisions, man. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, I don't know how much more the young man can take. You know what I mean? Regardless of who inflicted it on him and who he's fighting next, it's already been inflicted. The damage has already been done. So I don't give a fuck who he's fighting next. You know what I'm talking about? I hate doing it, man. But Diego's the pick. Diego's the pick to get it done in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I feel like his best days are still ahead of him. He's still constantly evolving, getting more and more dangerous every fucking moment. You know what I mean? And we have not seen the best of him yet inside of the UFC. So, Diego, to get it done in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Alexa versus Valentina. I'm still on Alexa. I'm still on Alexa. I think I misspoke, too. I think I misspoke in my one joint where I said Alexa, you know, got her out of there via submission inside the distance and then got her out of there via decision, but that joint was a draw, so that's my bad, y'all. I did misspeak, you know what I'm talking about, when I was doing my little final 1-2 and running through shit. I said, God, man, I think I might have motherfucking said that she won via submission the first time and then got the decision the second time, so that rivalry was over. I misspoke on that. She got her out of there via submission the first time. It was a draw the second time. I see her getting her out of there via KO, TKO inside the distance this time. Or at the very least securing a unanimous decision. You know what I'm talking about? Much like Brian, unfortunately, for Valentina, I believe, while she had an amazing run, her best days are behind her. You know what I'm talking about? We have seen the best that there is to see from Valentina Shevchenko. While we still may not have seen the best there is to see from Alexa Grasso, man. You know what I'm talking about? I think Valentina, this go-round, may find herself a bit too aggressively and recklessly and overconfidently searching for the finish. Now I'm talking about searching for significant shots and trying to do damage. And in that search for those significant shots and trying to inflict damage on Alexa Grasso, I could see her getting caught, clipped, and disconnected from her consciousness with a nice boxing combination. You know what I'm talking about? I like Valentina, man. But in my personal opinion, she should already be done, man. It is a whole new era of females coming, you know what I mean? And Valentina needs to get to getting ready to hang this shit up, in my personal opinion. Amanda did it right, man. You know what I'm talking about? Amanda did it right. Amanda righted her wrong with Juliana Pena, and she put those motherfucking gloves down and she got the fuck up out of there. 2-division motherfucking champ, the win streaks, the title. I mean, like, Amanda did what she needed to do to solidify herself, and she left out on top. See, Valentina's trying to right this wrong before she leaves, and I don't believe it's going to work out for her, man. Unfortunately. You know what I'm talking about? It's going to be one of those situations where she lost via unanimous decision, then it went to a draw. I mean, she lost via submission inside the distance, then it went to a draw, and now she's going to lose via unanimous decision or via KO, TKO inside the distance, and that's it, y'all. You know what I'm talking about? Rivalry's over, and the Valentina Shevchenko era is over. You know what I mean? Valentina should have been going, man. She should have been going, in my personal opinion. But she's not. She isn't. She's still here, but her era isn't. Alexa's the pick, man. Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Merab the Machine Dvalishvili. Oh, man. Sugar Sean's the pick, man. Sugar Sean's the pick to get this one done in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Whether that's being the first one to ever catch, clip, and disconnect Merab Dvalishvili from his consciousness to get him out of there inside the distance, or if he's the second motherfucker to get Merab Dvalishvili out of there inside the distance via submission and really fuck everybody's head up. You know what I'm talking about? Or if he just produces the better body of work over the course of 25 minutes to edge out the unanimous majority or split decision. You know what I'm talking about? If Merab had not busted his shit open, posted the video, showing us how significant that gash was and where those stitches were going, maybe I'd feel a little bit better about making a case for him, because, I mean, in 5, the takedowns are undeniable. What he does with them, because he racks up so many of them, obviously he doesn't do enough with them. You know what I'm talking about? But the takedowns, man, 5 out of 11, or whatever the fuck it was, on Henry Cejudo, who's a Olympic gold medalist in wrestling. He went 1 for 7 or 0 for 7 against Merab. Merab went like 5 for 11 against him. Like, you can't deny the takedowns are there. The takedown game is vicious. And then in this 5-round fight, 5 rounds, when we talk about takedowns in 5 rounds, that motherfucker went like 15 for 49 or some shit like that on motherfucking Piotr Yan, man. You know what I'm talking about? So granted, he's not doing a lot with these takedowns when he gets them, hence why individuals are able to hop back up and he racks up so many of them. But when you look at 5 rounds and you think of something like 15 takedowns out of 49 takedown attempts, then that means 15 times he got you down, they counted, and then the other motherfucking 34 times that he attempted to get you down, he shaved off motherfucking time, you know what I mean, got control time, put you up against the motherfucking cage and had you defending the takedown. So he is very much capable of just shaving time. I mean, just stealing time from the motherfucking fight. You know what I'm talking about? When you talk about 9 out of 45 takedowns, man, over 25 motherfucking minutes, man. I mean, 15 out of 49 takedowns over 25 minutes type shit. Now, where the fuck is the rest of the 25 minutes at then? You know what I'm talking about? He don't do a lot with the takedowns. That's the problem. If he's unable to get Sean down in the first round, aggressively, put him in a compromisable position while aggressively searching for the submission, find it, sink it in, lock it up, and get him out of there inside the distance. Like, if he takes him down and Sean gets back up, if he doesn't do anything with the takedowns and Sean gets back up, man, I don't necessarily believe that he's going to be able to rinse and repeat like he did against Piotr Yan, 15 out of 49. You know what I'm saying? Because that fresh scar tissue is there now. Sean does have the reach advantage by a few inches. Sean is very accurate, very precise. You understand what I'm saying to you? And very fucking fast. You know what I mean? So all it takes is one proper shot. You know what I mean? To pop that motherfucker right back open. And then another one, boom, to gash that motherfucker 2-3 times worse than it was even gashed in the first place. Now, with it being over your motherfucking eyebrow and all that shit leaking down into your motherfucking face, now you're wiping your eye when you should be, you know what I'm saying, guarding your motherfucking chin. You're wiping your motherfucking eye. You know what I'm talking about? Or you and you noticed it. Sean notices you wiping your eye. He's laughing at you, or so you start laughing and try to talk your shit, and now you're worried about the wrong shit. You're worried about doing this and laughing and shit, and you're getting pieced the fuck up, man. You know what I'm talking about? You're getting pieced the fuck up. And unfortunately, with a cut like that and fresh scar tissue like that, you could have a Jorge Masvidal, Nate Diaz type situation, man. This shit don't make it out of the 3rd round. You know what I'm talking about? The doctors stopped that shit mid-fucking fight because the cut is so excessive and it's right over the eye and it's just leaking into his vision. It's over. You know what I mean? Like, it's so many ways for Sean O'Malley to motherfucking win this fight, man. Now I'm talking about in my personal opinion. He could just piece him the fuck up. Once that thing starts leaking, and it'll start leaking in round 1, all he has to do is hit it once or twice. And it's going to open smooth the fuck up. And God forbid, what if he caught him with an elbow or something like my baby Chris Padilla did the wrong zoo? Imagine what that would do to that fresh scar tissue, man. You know what I'm talking about? Mop! Just fucking leaking. Just fillet that motherfucker open. As soon as he mopped him with a motherfucking elbow, they might just stop that shit, look at that shit, and stop the fight. Like Merab put himself in a dumb situation. You know what I'm talking about? And you can already hear it coming. You can already hear it coming. Ah, man, you know, the doctor shouldn't have stopped that fight. It was for the motherfucking title. It was the main event. It was going into the 4th round. You know, ooh. It don't matter, man. It don't matter. You allowed yourself to get laid the fuck open in training. You posted a motherfucking video showing us you getting stitched the fuck up so we know exactly where that fresh scar tissue is at. Like, come on, man. If you was going to fight and it wasn't that significant of a motherfucking incident, keep that shit to yourself. If it finds its way out onto the internet or motherfuckers, you know, it finds its way in the motherfucking zones and they find out about it, that's one thing. But posting your own video and letting the world know, hey, here goes some fresh scar tissue for you, you know, with your reach and speed and accuracy to attempt to tee off on. You know what I mean? It's just fucked up, man. He made the fight that much harder for him. Because now when you're worried about doing all this and you got all this coming, you're not shooting for the takedowns that you would normally be shooting for. You know what I'm talking about? Or you're shooting in a bit recklessly, or, you know, a bit, you know, they telegraphed. The motherfucker can see him coming from a mile away. You know what I'm talking about? He just put himself in a bad situation where Sean O'Malley's healthy, man. He's healthy. Hasn't slept on this individual in any way, shape, form, or fashion. He's taking his fight camp more serious than any fight camp he's ever taken before. You understand what I'm saying to you? He's absolutely in good spirits, mentally, physically, emotionally. You know what I'm talking about? Spiritually, like the motherfucker, he's hitting on all cylinders right now. Where Merab, he's still the machine, but he got that fresh scar tissue, man. And that bothers me, man. Because that's going to bust the fuck open. It's going to fillet open and it's going to start fucking leaking. And I don't care how much Vaseline they try to goop up in that motherfucker and what they try to do. Every time it gets touched in every fucking round, after it gets opened up, it will be opened up again and it'll be a mess leaking down his face. And there's no way he's going to win a unanimous decision. Split or majority decision if it goes the full 25 minutes and he's just covered in fucking blood. His shorts are soaked, his face, his hair, you know what I'm talking about? Like, it's gonna be blood every fucking where, man. Because that motherfucker right there is gonna leak. And Sean will open it back up, you know what I mean? And that just is gonna take away from Merab's game, man. It's gonna take away from his game. He's not gonna be able to, he's not gonna be able to just, he's gonna have to worry about this. You know what I'm talking about? And worrying about this leaves you open for all types of shit. Like, you going to wipe this and Sean's going to be popping you right in your small fucking soup cooler. Pop! You know what I mean? You're going to be going like this and the motherfucker's going to be throwing kip. Pop, pop. He's just going to be lighting you the fuck up every time you wipe your eye. You know what I'm talking about? And if you don't wipe your eye and you just you're even more wide open for the shots for him to tee off on you on, man. It could leave you, you know, very vulnerable. You know what I mean? Very vulnerable. Sean is faster. Sean is more accurate. Sean is the more diverse, versatile individual in the striking department. You understand what I'm saying to you? Sean is no fish out of water on the mat. You know what I mean? His grappling, his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu, offensive and defensively, are both sound. You know what I mean? They're all solid. You know what I mean? He's sound in those departments. He does not excel past Merab in those departments. He does excel past Merab in the striking department. You know what I mean? And that height, reach, and speed will very much come into play with those kicks, with those 1-2s, and with busting that fresh scar tissue open, man. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I would have liked to have said that if it went 25 minutes, then it would have undeniably been Merab Dvalishvili by unanimous decision by producing a better body of work over the course of 25 minutes and putting Sean O'Malley in multiple compromisable positions, even if he was unable to find the finish, putting him in multiple compromisable positions, attempting to find a submission, attempting to find a finish, you understand what I'm saying to you, and just producing a better body of work over the course of 25 minutes while slowing down Sean's body of work, just putting a hold on his body of work, the strikes, the output, just anything, by suffocating him with the constant chaining of takedowns and the grappling. You know what I'm talking about? I would have liked to say that if it went 25 minutes, that it was Merab undeniably due to all of those things. But with that fresh scar tissue, with that blood that's going to be pouring into his face, if it's opened up in the first round, it'll be opened up in the second round, the third round, the fourth round, and the fifth round. So that'll be every single round. He's coming out, and not even 60 seconds into the round, he's getting opened up and he's fucking just profusely leaking down his face. No judge. No judge. None of these judges are going to get that man a unanimous a majority or a motherfucking split decision victory if it goes 25 minutes. And for, you know, 23 minutes, he's just profusely leaking out of his motherfucking eyebrow into his motherfucking face. You know what I'm talking about? It's going to cause him and his body of work to slow down. You know what I'm talking about? It's going to allow Sean's body of work to be implemented. You know what I mean? Like Merab just needs to get him down and get him the fuck up out of there inside the first 90 seconds via submission. Because if he doesn't, that cut's coming open. That cut could get opened up. If he gets out there in the first 60 seconds and locks up a motherfucking takedown, you know what I'm talking about? And O'Malley's down on his back. O'Malley can throw a couple motherfucking elbows or, you know what I mean, a little shot from his motherfucking back to open that shit up, and it just starts leaking down in him. You know what I'm talking about? Then Merab's just, you know, all fucked up trying to get the blood out of his motherfucking face while he's, you know what I mean, searching for the motherfucking submission. Or if Merab goes over there for that takedown and O'Malley finds himself back up against the cage defending the takedown, and oh boy, that side of the head's right there, boom, boom, couple elbows on that fresh scar tissue, man, that thing's gonna fillet right open, white meat everywhere, you know what I'm talking about? Just leaking profusely. I don't see how Merab Dvalishvili keeps that cut from opening up and stays safe enough to produce the better body of work over the course of 25 minutes, man. If I don't see how he wins this fight if he doesn't get it down in the first round and get him out of there. You know what I'm talking about? If he don't find that submission and get him out of there before he gets all, you know, his vision gets distorted and blurry and he starts having other things to worry about other than just what's in front of him, I don't know that he wins this fight, man, in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I think it just gets worse and worse for him as the fight goes on, as the blood profusely, you know, pours down his motherfucking face and into his motherfucking eye, distorting his motherfucking vision. You know what I mean? He's tasting blood. It's fucking with his breathing. Sean's just going to continue to piece him. Continue to piece him. And, you know, scurry around that motherfucking octagon. Move, you know, because the movement's there. Merab Dvalishvili's a machine. He can, his constant forward pressure is there. His constant chaining of the wrestling and the takedowns is there. But if he's got to find you for it, you know what I mean? Like, Sean's not somebody who's right there and just doesn't necessarily, you know, stay on the center line throwing shots so you can just shoot up under him and hit a power double like Rosas and Arichi Lang. You know what I'm talking about? Like Arichi Lang, the way he's going to be coming, Rosas can dip right up under that. You know what I mean? He can use his little combination sequence, dip right up under that for a power double and secure the takedown. You know what I'm talking about? I don't necessarily believe that Merab can do that with Sean, because Sean's movement and the angles that he can catch you from, he's not necessarily there to be caught. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. You know what I'm talking about? My bad. I held y'all ear hostage for 44 minutes. For 10 fucking fights. Huh? My bad, y'all. It is what it is, though. Rosas is the pick to get it done in some way, shape, form, or fashion over Arichi Lang. Edgar's the pick as the dog to get it done in some way, shape, form, or fashion over Joshua. Yasmeen's the pick to get it done via split decision over Katlin. Manuel is the pick to get it done in some way, shape, form, or fashion over Ignacio. Norma's the pick to get it done over Irene via split, but I wouldn't be surprised if Irene got it done via split. This is a fight I want absolutely nothing to do with in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but I am siding with Norma to produce a slightly better all-around body of work over the course of 15 minutes to edge out a split decision. I'm still on O'Day to secure the victory over Ronaldo in some way, shape, form, or fashion, using that reach advantage of 8 inches very much to his advantage, while also using his better all-around mixed martial arts game to his advantage, while also being and having the advantage of being the higher level of opposition in this matchup, in my personal opinion. You know what I'm talking about? Very much is what it is. I like the resumes. I like the wins and the losses on O'Day's resume more so than the wins and losses on Ronaldo's resume. I like the body of work that O'Day's been able to produce up against a higher level of opposition more than that of the body of work that Ronaldo's been able to produce over a lower level of opposition. You understand what I'm saying to you? One thing has nothing to do with the other, but Ronaldo had lost a disgusting unanimous decision to Jerome Rivera, where O'Day, I believe, got him out of there inside the distance. He won either way you look at it. Now, I know one thing has nothing to do with the other, but it very much is what it is. Ronaldo's best win is Bondar, and I said Bondar is nobody to be bragging about. While on the other side, man, you know, you got to like the Charles Johnson win, in my personal opinion, because Charles Johnson is solid, man. And CJ Vergara, you know, he's all right. We could do without that Tyson Nam loss, you know what I'm talking about? But I personally feel like, you know, Manel Kopp, Asu, Hafel, and Brian Kelleher fuck around and all hand Ronaldo losses too, as Brian Kelleher has handed quite a few individuals losses that he didn't get the nod for on the cards. In my personal opinion, he's been robbed quite a few times. So I'm not really mad at that loss that O'Day took to Brian Kelleher, man. But again, I just feel like the level of opposition, the wins, the losses, the resume, the all-around body of work, and the physical attributes on O'Day's side are, you know, more respectable. And that's the side I'm going with. It's still Daniel over Esteban to produce the better body of work, possibly find a finish inside the distance. Diego to get it done in some way, shape, form, or fashion over Brian. Alexa to get it done in some way, shape, form, or fashion over Valentina. I'm calling a knockout or unanimous decision, but I could really see that knockout coming. You know what I mean? Because Valentina's going to be wanting to get this one back a bit too eager to get it back. She wants this one, and I don't believe it's going to work out for her, man. And wanting it too bad and searching for the finish too bad could cause her to get finished. You know what I mean? In her own right. So Alexa is still very much the pick, and Sean's the pick over Dvalishvili, man. You know what I mean? So as of right now, it's 10 fights. I am on, what am I on, man? Edgar as a dog, Norma, and O'Day is a dog. You know what I'm talking about? 3 dogs, 7 favorites, 10 fight card. We're gonna see how the ball bounces and the cookie crumbles. Parlay video for everything incoming in a few minutes.